the wise Alondo.
Hi there, I'm Cameron.
And I'm Danny.
And welcome to Mages and Murderdads, the only show that's dedicated to the Baldur's Gate series. We still have not checked to see if that is true.
Never will.
We're never going to check. Trust us when we say we don't know if we're the only one, but if we aren't the only one, we're definitely the best.
You should trust us. We've been doing this quite a while. 8.5 months now.
8.5 months. But you know what, Danny? How was your fortnight?
This has been a just fine one. This has been a just fine one. A lot of anticipation. This is an unusual episode because I think we've only done maybe 2 or 3 episodes in the morning, but we're just so excited to record this episode that we had to crack open Audacity and Skype before noon.
That's a literal hellscape. I don't know why we've done this. If you haven't listened to the show before, there's all kinds of stuff you can do to help us out here at the top. You can follow us both on Twitter. You can find that in the description. You can like us on Facebook to get all kinds of Baldur's Gate-oriented content. You can like and subscribe here on YouTube, and you can hit that weird little bell button that everyone's so mad about to make sure that you see every episode. It comes out bi-weekly. Straight shout-out to the subreddit where people talk about this occasionally. And the commenters here on the YouTube page, still a very, very high quality of comments.
Totally.
Like, just good stuff. We're talking about Baldur's Gate all the time. Actually, we have a huge number from the past couple weeks where people have been listening to the show since our last episode where we interviewed Phil Daigle, from Beamdog, the developers of Baldur's Gate Enhanced Editions.
Fantastic interview.
Yeah, it's a great interview. Go back. I'll put a link in here. Actually. And so we've had like a big spur of new viewer listeners, and I actually need to go back and respond to a bunch of those.
Mm-hmm. And I anticipate a lot more viewer listeners starting now because this is episode 20, and this is the beginning of season 3 because we're moving on to a different game.
We're now in Baldur's Gate 2, Shadows of Amn. I know.
That's a big game.
It's a big game, and actually, I'll be honest, I think the reason we started this show is because we wanted to play Baldur's Gate 2.
Yeah, so this has just been 8.5 months of foreplay.
Yep. But what great foreplay. We've got a new theme song. Every season, quote-unquote season, every new game has a new theme song. This one is by John Fio, a.k.a. Audio Sprite. You can see his stuff in the description. You'll hear this song several times. It will get shorter as the season goes along.
Mm-hmm. You've got it down to a science.
Yeah, I've really got that editing down to a science. Yeah.
Kunzelman, I got a question.
No.
What is Mages and Murderdads?
Mages and Murderdads is a show that's not really a Let's Play. It's 2 independent playthroughs. You play the game on your terms, and I play the game on my terms, and then we meet in the middle to discuss how you're wrong.
Oh, that's actually historically not true, but yeah, sure.
That is that's a little bit of statecraft thinking on my part, covering up the grand sin of state formation. But that's our different podcast, Political Science History.
But we that's every other Tuesday, right?
Yeah, that's every other Tuesday.
But yes, so we're playing through these series with different characters, and we're going to be starting Baldur's Gate 2 with characters we started 8.5 months ago in Baldur's Gate, and we played through all of Baldur's Gate, and we played through all of Siege of Dragonspear. And if you want, you can go back and see how these characters came to be and how they got to where they are. But if you want to start here, a lot of folks start at Baldur's Gate 2, but I do feel it's necessary for us to introduce the nature of these characters that we have.
Mm-hmm. So Danny, you play a character named Balthazar.
Yeah.
What's Balthazar all about?
So Balthazar is a half-orc barbarian. He, and a lot of people ask, wait, well, hold on, barbarian or berserker? No, just pure barbarian. And he wields a big sword, and he gets angry sometimes. And I think that Balthazar's main emotional kind of aspect would be frustration. And sometimes that frustration turns to anger. And I think you put it best, charitably, he's kind of a murder man.
Yeah, that's kind of his thing. Mm-hmm. It's really interesting. And I guess we'll talk about this as the episode goes on. But there's a lot of opportunities to be annoyed in Baldur's Gate 2.
Yeah,
for you to take the player position of I'm annoyed at being here.
And another like kind of twist to Balthazar. Balthazar does not lie. He doesn't feel the need to.
Mm-hmm. But he lied one time and he was cursed by a wizard.
Did that happen?
No, this is for the Mages and Murderdads expanded universe.
Oh, I gotcha.
That I'm currently pitching to Wizards of the Coast.
I gotcha. So before Baldur's Gate 1, this happened while he was still in Candlekeep, and that's the reason he doesn't lie now, is he like checked a book out and didn't return it, and then lied to the librarian.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was cursed with a short temper from then on.
Yeah.
Okay, I can roll with that.
That's in our lore podcast. It's called Prepare to Gate. And it's pretty serious. You can check that out every other Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I play a character named Ticklevar, who is a sorcerer. I think he's a human. I believe he's a human. Human sorcerer.
He doesn't see race.
If Balthazar is short-tempered and never lies, then Ticklevar believes in, like, pure, like, application of state-based justice.
Mm-hmm.
Ticklevar believes that, like, the world can be made better through democracy, through being nice to one another, and through just good old-fashioned hard work and know-how.
Just a straight-up statist that believes that kind of the world glides along on the lies necessary to keep that state running.
Mm-hmm. And also, he dies thousands and thousands of times. He has probably died 200 times over the course of these 8.5 months. Mm-hmm. It's like a rough time to be him.
Mm-hmm. But you know what? The Baldur's Gate 2 might be he might be growing out of that awkward phase in Baldur's Gate 2. We'll have to see.
That's the characters, and now, I mean, Baldur's Gate 2 starts literally right where Siege of Dragonspear ended. If you're not familiar with the kind of genealogy of games that exists between Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 2, what happened is that Baldur's Gate initially came out way back in the day, 1997, 1998, something like that. Baldur's Gate 2 came out a couple years later, so there's a time gap in between them within the game, but when the enhanced editions were made by Beamdog, they came and they said, you know what, we're going to make some content in between those two games. And that's what Siege of Dragonspear is. So the very moment that Siege of Dragonspear ends is the intro video for Baldur's Gate 2.
Mm-hmm.
Wowie. So we've missed no time.
No time. Well, there's a kind of you do kind of wake up at the beginning of Baldur's Gate 2, so you are apprehended, you're kidnapped in some way, and then there is like a little bit of plausible like deniability in terms of, well, how much time was it between? So we didn't miss content, but maybe we've missed time, if that makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, you've been in prison for X amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
So, Danny, tell me how did Balthazar? What did this look like when you woke up? What was this all about?
I don't know. A lot of chaos, a lot of explosions going places. Like a little fellow runs around and then explodes. That happens after I wake up in a cage in like a very dungeony, like a lot of steel grating, kind of almost kind of post-industrial type little prison I woke up in. It was a little jarring.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's just Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, it was a little disorienting. One thing we may have forgotten to mention is that, because this is gonna become important in just a few moments, I don't want the audience to think I'm just a complete jerk. Balthazar, part of his spiritual growth as a character that we went through in Baldur's Gate 1 has completely rejected the paradigm of having a party. So Balthazar, this entire game series is playing solo.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So that's important because I noticed that there are several other characters that I have to interact with in like the first few minutes of this game, and Balthazar is immediately overcome with frustration and rejects all attempts by those characters to form any kind of fellowship.
Yeah, so you wake up, and you are opened. Your cage is opened by Imoen, right? And so if you're familiar with the games, Imoen is kind of your kind of sister, I guess. Like, she is also your adoptive father Gorian's ward, in the same way that you are his ward. And you can, like, optionally hang out with her in Baldur's Gate 1. Neither of us chose to do that. And you can, like, supposedly have an emotional connection to her in Siege of Dragonspear, and neither of us chose to do that. And so yeah, she's very overly familiar and acts as if we have been adventuring for years and years and years.
Despite the fact that I left her at the gates of Candlekeep after she left.
Like a full year ago.
Yeah, yeah.
And so she shows up and she says, hey, we got to get out of here, blah, 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 blah. And Jahira, who is a druid, and then Minsk, who is a ranger but kind of has the temperament of a barbarian. They're there too, and they're mad. They want to get out.
Yeah.
And I need a party because I will disintegrate upon being attacked by a goblin.
At least until you get disintegrate. Whoa.
Disintegration ray. It'll happen at some point. But yeah, so I got them all. So
yeah, I didn't get anybody. I do like the freeing Minsk options.
So talk about that.
So I think if you're strong enough, you can attempt to break open Minsk's cage. But you can also berate Minsk, which my character was doing wholeheartedly. Like, my character was actually, kind of just putting him down. And eventually, and basically be like, you're useless, Minsk. What are you even doing here, etc. And eventually, Minsk gets so angry he breaks himself out. And then, for a moment, he's about to attack you because you angered him. And then he realizes, or he convinces himself, oh, you were only saying the things you were saying, so he would get mad enough to break the cage, which was not the case on Balthazar's part. Like, I could have broken open the cage if I wanted to. I just didn't. I just genuinely didn't like Minsk.
Is this just a clash of wills that you had there, where you're trying to convince him, no, you really hate him?
Yeah, and he attacked me in Baldur's Gate 1, and I killed him. And then I guess he got resurrected and had his memory wiped in Siege of Dragonspear.
Yeah, that is true. You killed him in the street, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that is a difference in this game versus some other games, right? Because you can import characters, right? We have imported our characters across 3 games, and you could import a character from the original Baldur's Gate, but you you couldn't really import, like, plot points. It wasn't a Mass Effect kind of thing, even though Mass Effect is part of this kind of genealogy of games. And so yeah, they just kind of reset the world state and kind of hope that you don't care about that. But I think Minsk is part of what is known as the canonical party.
Yeah.
Of the Baldur's Gate series, and so he's got to show back up, I think.
And is Ticklevar right now committing to the canonical party in Baldur's Gate 2?
So I've actually looked up the notion of the canonical party, because you see it show up like in forum threads and that kind of thing. And there's actually not really a strong agreement about what the canonical party is. The agreement is basically it's everyone you meet in this dungeon, and we'll talk about who all those people are, plus one other person. I think the canonical party is only a 5.
So you get a flex spot.
You get a flex. Well, it gets filled later in the game, purposefully. But
Gotcha.
in any case, so I don't know yet. But I say all of that to say that the canonical party is talked about as something that's, like, real and true, but also is very unclear what that actually is. I did, however, I'll say this right here in the middle of the episode, I did buy the Baldur's Gate novels after Phil Daigle told us about them.
Oh, man.
And they're coming in the mail. So
That's going to be another lore episode.
We're going to get some updates on that.
That's every third Wednesday.
That's not.
Okay.
It's not Baldur's Gate lore.
Oh.
Maybe we should do that. Anyway, okay. Yeah, so we roll out of here, and then basically, so you're in this dungeon, this capture dungeon, and it's just like, do whatever the hell you want time.
Yeah, this is, I think, it's almost the platonic ideal of the dungeon-ass dungeon that we've, like, referred to over the course of the last 19 episodes.
Yes,
like,
this is a dungeon-ass dungeon. Gary Gygax is, like, living his best life here. It's Arneson has a vision board at home, and it's just like each room of this thing attached in the perfect way, right? Like, truly a D&D ass dungeon.
And this is a real gear shift, which I think it's great to talk about this now because we spoke a little bit about the design ethic of Siege of Dragonspear and kind of the design and encounter influences that went into Siege of Dragonspear versus Baldur's Gate 1. This is a major shift back into a Baldur's Gate 1-esque design space, in my opinion, in a lot of ways. Because this, I mean, how many times were you truly tested in an encounter in this dungeon?
0 times.
0 times. Same with me.
I did die one time, but I think I died to poison.
Yeah. This is a straight-up Gygaxian, like, things are, like, there are a bunch of goblins wandering around. They are level 1. Like, your party's, what? I mean, Balthazar's level 10, but your party's probably level 7 or level 8, right?
I think we're at level 10.
Really?
Yeah, we're like level 9 and 10, yeah.
Level 9 and 10, yeah. So, these goblins aren't meant to pose your party a risk. They're here because, like, according to the story, they have to be here. Like, I guess they're just Irenicus's minions or what have you.
Yeah, unclear. But yeah. So what Danny means, and if you've been listening to the show for forever, you know this already, but, like, the Gygaxian ideal is that the world is a simulation of a real place, and the things you will encounter are the real things you would encounter. So, in the middle of this dungeon, like, quite literally smack dab in the middle, there's a garbage pit. And in that garbage pit, there's an Otyug. I don't know how you... And an Otyug in D&D lore is just like a trash monster. It just eats trash and, like, poops out slime. And that's its whole business. And lo and behold, if you go to the middle of the dungeon, it is there, and it's just eating trash and pooping slime. And it's fairly easy to kill, but, like, it ecologically makes sense for the world. Exactly. It is not encounter designed. So yeah, I appreciate this a lot.
Yeah, I think that both of us, Ticklevar, for very specific logistical reasons, was not the biggest fan of kind of the CR rating Icewind Dale-esque encounter design that tested his meager abilities.
Well, I feel like that's a bad, like a rude way to put it, but yeah.
So I think, and I don't know, it was a real kind of sigh of relief in a lot of ways to know that, okay, I'm going to do this dungeon, but I'm not going to be, like, grinding my teeth every 5 minutes when I go into a new room, right?
Yeah, I mean, the further we get along in this, and I think we're going to talk about this quite a bit over the rest of the episode while we talk about the rest of this dungeon, but I think that the thing that draws me to the Baldur's Gate series is the narrative and story content for the most part. Like, I enjoy the combat when it is interesting, but I just, like, I don't want to fight 5 fire beetles because fire beetles are the next encounter. You know what I mean? Like, I would rather do, like, an interesting quest, or, like, have someone have, like, a death curse on them and have to kill things to get the death curse off, right? Not just to make it to the next room. And I feel like there's, like, a thin line between those things, but it is one that Baldur's Gate 1 and Baldur's Gate 2, I think, really rides really well in a way that Siege of Dragonspear maybe is trying to do half and half. It's, like, trying to fulfill the combat-based desires for some players and the story-based desires for others, and, like, I can't kind of pick my way. You know? Yeah.
But so that's kind of like a larger, kind of a macro look at this dungeon, but there's because of its kind of nature as this dungeon-ass dungeon, you're going to see there's just a lot of variety. There's still an overarching story connection in a lot of this dungeon, which the canvas is a very wide canvas because we know that, like, some powerful wizard is kind of has been holding us here, right? So that gives the designers a lot of room to put different things into this dungeon, as opposed to like a hobgoblin captain. There's only so much like stuff that's going to be in a hobgoblin captain's dungeon, but So I mean, let's talk about some stuff we run into this weird place.
Number one, and we're not covering everything because like literally every room is just some other random thing. Mm-hmm. So we just like made a list of things we think are the most interesting, and if you don't think that is true, then you can do your own show
and comment.
You can tell us we're wrong or that we're right or something, I guess.
Yeah, link your show in the comment.
Yeah. You produced your own show for 8.5 months, and then you link it in the comments, and I'll say, I'll hit the little thumbs up button, I'll say, it's good. Good on you for putting the time and effort in. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so, there's this guy called Ataka. Atakwa?
Sure.
It doesn't say it in the game, so it's hard to know. But Ataka the genie.
Yeah.
You like this genie, huh?
This genie was interesting. I don't know if I went through it optimally in the dialogue, but this genie, I guess, I don't know, had wanted to pose a riddle to me, and I tried to reject being posed a riddle. Right?
Just conceptually, you're not on board.
Yeah, I'm not on board with riddles because there's some lying involved in riddles because you're not just saying the answer. Riddles are antithetical to the pure brute force ideology that Balthazar fully embraces. Mm-hmm. Because they're hiding something, and he hides nothing. Because pure naked force hides nothing.
Sure. The immovable object would never hide.
And the dialogue options did not allow me that option, right? I could not, he was like, no, you've got to answer. And I think I answered wrong on the first one. And
what do you say?
And so basically I answered something, and then he gave me a follow-up, and then he said something cryptic and disappeared, and it made me think that I failed.
I just said, I'm not answering your riddle, and he said, you got to answer this riddle. And I said, no, I won't. And he just disappeared.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe I'm smarter than you.
It might be.
I wonder if that... I don't know, right? So Siege of Dragonspear, by virtue of being developed 15 years after the other games, has the ability to use your different skills in dialogue in the same way that, the Fallout games, the original Fallout games, I mean, the new ones do this too, but, Fallout 1 and 2, and then Planescape Torment, all those games had the ability to use your skills in non-combat situations. So intelligence mattered, and strength mattered when you're talking to people. I don't know if that's the case in this game or not. I can't remember specific examples, and it's been probably... I want to say 8 years since I played this game the last.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So maybe I was able to skip my way through that in a way that your 22 strength could not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I just said I'll answer none of the questions, and he asked a prisoner's dilemma question.
Oh no, he did answer that. I'm sorry, he did ask me that, and I said I'm not answering the question. That is.
Oh, I said I don't know, and then he disappeared.
Oh, yeah, I think that is what I ended up doing. Yeah, he just straight up asked the prisoner's dilemma. Mm-hmm. And I remember from years past having played this game, if you choose the bad one, I'm going to wail on that button to electrocute my buddy, then he will attack you.
Really?
Yeah, and you can fight him.
I wonder if he drops a cool sword.
Probably not cooler than the other sword you can get in this level.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that.
We will. So, what else? What other cool, interesting things are
in terms of environmental story design, I think one of the coolest themes throughout this dungeon are these clone jars, these glass jar monsters that you find in a few rooms throughout the dungeon. As you're kind of going through the dungeon, you'll find, it depends on the order in which you go, because it's not really linear. There's an optimal path if you're just doing a speed run, but as you stumble through, you're going to find this room with all of these jars, these kind of glass vats, and when you inspect them, there are these creatures in them. They're kind of deformed. They're It's a little ambiguous as to what they are. They all look like variations on the same theme. And eventually you'll stumble upon one that will actually speak to you. And that character's name is Raylev, I think.
Yeah. Ryleave, something like that.
Ryleave. And Ryleave kind of spills the beans and says that there's a master. At first he believes that you are either the master or a servant of the master. And Ryleave is being tortured, more or less. Like, he or it does not want to be here.
Yeah, he's got the saddest voice acting in human history.
Totally.
Maybe we can track down that voice actor and get him to be on the show for like 2 minutes.
Fantastic. Yeah.
I'll make a note.
And so Ryleave, more or less, you find out that there's a device which is powering Ryleave's animation, and you are able to find that device, and you're able to go to another room with all of these glass vats and animate several other of these creatures. All of the creatures are in just unspeakable agony. They all want to be released. And as an end to this little quest, I release Riley from his terrible existence.
Mm-hmm. Did you get what he was in life? Did you pick up that?
Yeah, I did.
Because he's like undead now or something.
Or something, sure.
Preserved. But yeah. So you did pick it up?
No, I don't think so. What was Riley before?
Oh, he was like a faithful hound. That's what he says. So I take that as literally he was a dog.
Interesting.
Yeah. I've always thought that was very sad, that like this wizard uplifted his dog and then like captured him.
Interesting.
And kept him forever.
Yeah, all of the little creatures in the glass vats that you can talk to are named Tortured One. And they're all basically saying things like, hey, I wasn't attempting to steal anything from the mistress. They're all desperately, as sycophants trying to beg for their release. So this is just a very elaborate torture chamber.
Yeah, or like it's unclear, right? Like where the impetus for creating it comes from, right? Mm-hmm. Like, is it this wizard is trying to preserve life, and in doing so has like warped those desires and hurt those people he wanted to preserve?
Yeah.
Or is it really torture? Because clearly, like, the one person or the one creature who says, I went into the mistress's chamber, that one's very sad, too. Like, I went into the mistress's chamber even though I wasn't supposed to. I felt a lot of pain, and then I woke up here. Is it really that dangerous, Master? Like, they just don't understand what's happened to them, and they, I guess, have been preserved here for hundreds, if not thousands of years. Like, there's real tragedy in these stories, I think.
And I feel like it's appropriate to talk about this here. On a different level, there is another room with kind of similar vats. Mm-hmm. But instead of seeing tortured ones in those vats, they are all clones of a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we're kind of a no spoiler show, in the sense of we don't really talk about what's happening in episodes after this, even if we know. And I have a fairly good memory of the big plot points, but this does not get paid off on for like 40 more hours.
Yeah.
it's a real like
slow burn,
hang on to your butts kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So just remember that. Remember this moment here in the first half hour of the first episode.
Yeah.
Because in 8.5 months we're gonna get there again.
Okay, great. So yeah, glass vats, sad bad, sorcerer dad.
Is this your new rap? What is this?
And
barbarian rhymes?
I don't know what else on this first floor kind of interested you.
There are a couple things. There are some Dweger. How do you say that?
I always said Dweger, I guess.
I don't
Isn't there
know.
an R in another place? You might have misspelled.
Dwerger. I don't know. They're bad dwarves.
Bad dwarves.
Bad dwarves.
Dark dwarves.
Yeah, dark dwarves, and they're here making like knives for this wizard. They make knives.
Not even like weapons, just cutlery.
Yeah.
They're associated with the kitchen staff.
Yeah, it's a hierarchical relationship, and they are, of course, as is the purview of D&D fiction, they are evil, and they are like unquestioningly and biologically evil. They're just an evil people.
Lawful evil.
They are lawful evil, even though there is a Drizzt Do'Urden novel in which he allies himself with a Dweger, and they are buddies. Both proving that fantasy racism is bad.
The exception proves the rule, though.
Well, all of the other of them in that novel are in fact evil. So it's kind of still solidifying some bad stuff, I think. But so they're there, and they're just like making knives, and I thought that's cool. I think it's cool that like this is part of that ecology, that like there are people here who do that. They're also right outside of a room with a demon in it, and it's just hanging out.
Yeah, I killed that demon. You can like fiddle with some devices to release the demon from a sphere of invulnerability. No real payoff for that. It's just there. It's there because the sorcerer was doing the wizard that inhabits this place was doing experiments on it.
Yeah, I wonder if that is a like a generator that like powers the facility.
It's using infernal power.
Infernal energies.
That's real renewable energy.
It never goes away.
It never goes away.
It's the new nuclear energy, and much like nuclear energy, when it goes bad, it's like real bad.
It's real bad.
You don't want that in your backyard.
Yeah, the kind of Faerunian equivalent of a Fukushima disaster is a bad time.
Yeah, it's the demon at the bottom of Watcher's Keep, and he gets out. Yeah, you don't want that happening.
Or maybe it's way more benign, where it's just a demon that takes over a facility a la Durlag's Tower, and just like leaves the rest of the area alone, and just like, no, I'm cool with this tower.
Here's where I live now.
Just don't go in the tower.
I shoot dark energy into space every day, but don't look at it. You're fine. I also send demons out of my castle to drag people to hell. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's only a problem if you're out adventuring, which we all know, like, the moral, composure of adventurers.
It's nil. There's none. But, okay, so that happens, and you can kill these, you're forced to kill these dwarves. And, you get these, like, little seeds. You get some seeds. You can run those seeds all the way across the level. There's a lot of, like, running back and forth in this dungeon. To go do stuff, and there are some dryads that like live beside this like creepy bedroom. This is like kind of on the way out of the dungeon, and you can say, "Hey, I have these seeds," and they say, "Oh crap, these seeds are ours. If you take these to the Windspear Hills and give them to our like dryad buddy," and dryads are kind of like wood spirits. If you give it to the dryad queen or something, there's that hierarchical relationship there. Then she can rescue us. And I said, okay, I guess we'll do that.
Yeah, and speaking of environmental storylines, so I imagine that so there's kind of a little arboreum, basically, in the middle of the dungeon where these dryads are. The dryads say they want to escape, but they can't leave because their spirits are tied to a tree in that arboreum. So I imagine the seeds would enable those other dryad buddies to plant them elsewhere so their spirits could be tied to those trees instead, and that would allow them to escape. But there's also a lot of like real creepy stuff because you know that the wizard who's running this place is a he, and there's this like elaborate bed chamber, and from previous story things you imagine this is the mistress's bed chamber because it's also heavily trapped, right? So the tortured one's like looping us back in there. So like, and the dryads explicitly say we are his concubines, right? So that like you've already got like some real storytelling. These people are sex slaves. So the person running this dungeon has like enslaved these three spirits.
Yeah, because they what they talk about is like he wants to feel emotions. Like I don't even know if it is explicitly sexual in nature. I think it is more like, and this will be talked about more as the game goes on, but literally it's like a metaphysical relationship in the sense of he is trying to use them to generate emotions. So it's like even more, or maybe not more insidious, but just also insidious.
Yeah.
In the way that it functions.
Well, he wants to capture them and basically hold them almost as his own muses, like in kind of a more classical sense.
Yeah, because like dryads, they can induce emotion, right? So like when you summon one in the game to like help you out, like a huge number of their abilities are charm and that kind of stuff, right? Dire charm. And so literally, like this is an interesting like mechanical narrative scenario in which he has turned them into slaves to make them do that to him in order to feel.
Yeah. No, there's just so much going on here, and I think that there are some encounters that can tell a story like this, but it's just so much more time efficient to like write the story, right? And just to put people here. And I like this is that Gygaxian stuff coming through.
Yeah. I mean, like there's there's like a like if you don't check for traps, say in the mistress's chamber,
sure,
you walk in and this didn't happen to me in this playthrough, but if memory serves, this like big green blob falls down on you and you get like mazed. And maze in this in Dungeons and Dragons, maze is literally a spell where is cast on you and you are teleported to a magical maze in like another plane. And so you just kind of wander around and like you don't get to see that visual part, but you're just kind of like out of existence for a while. And so like you're talking about with the tortured one, the implication is like anyone who walks into that room gets mazed and he goes and plucks you out of the maze and then puts you in the thing, right? And like that's like amazing environmental storytelling, right? Yeah. What we like eventually in video game design and development called environmental storytelling, a la BioShock or whatever.
Sure.
But yeah, beautiful stuff.
Really interesting stuff. So by the time you do that, you're basically finished with the first floor of this dungeon, and there's a second floor with like just as much cool stuff in a lot of ways.
Well, just really quickly, so like you have to jump around through a bunch of hoops to do this, but eventually you get like a little statue, and there's a door over where the Dwagar or whatever they're called, where they are, and that takes you to the elemental plane of air.
Oh yeah, that's on the first floor, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on the first floor, and so you can go in there and you can talk to a genie. And what does he say? What does he say, Dan?
Oh yeah, the genie basically is being held there, and I basically tell the genie, "Hey, I'm willing to free you. Like, just let me know what I need to do." And the genie says that his spirit is bound here. There's this particular item that's been stolen from him by Irenicus, and I believe the item is in the mistress's chamber. Is that correct?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So I'm able to like go secure the item, and I think I have to like talk to the dryads too. Like as part of this quest.
Yeah, the dryads have it.
Yeah, the dryads have it. And when you go back to the genie and you give him the object, this MacGuffin that he needs, he gave me an item, and that item is Sarevok's sword.
And there's like a cool tooltip for it too that I really like. That's like, this is the sword that Sarevok used against you in the battle in faraway Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, and it's really neat because there's a little bit of, and I would love to like go back through the games and like read some of this more carefully. But there's a big thing in the very beginning of Siege of Dragonspear about that sword.
Yeah.
So I wonder if
people are like afraid of it.
I wonder if the implication is that the wizard controlling this dungeon was the one and went and got the sword, or did the genie get the sword? Like, I would love to see the chain of custody on that sword.
Well, it comes back in a big way later on in the next expansion too.
Totally,
I don't know if you know about that, but yeah.
And I think if you hang on to the item, it's important too. So I'm going to make sure to keep that in my inventory.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, so there's that. So that's like a cool, and like you can completely miss that. That's like 2 separate like items you have to find to make that quest work for like what's really like 12 lines of dialogue or something. But it's pretty huge.
Yeah. No, totally.
So we go up to the 2nd floor. There's a little portal. We use that portal to jump up there, and we meet a dude named Yoshimo.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a thief. He's a bounty hunter, I think.
I think is he multi-class Kinsai?
Oh, maybe he is. Yeah, he might be.
Yeah, I believe so. Which are kind of a fighter that eschews armor, and they're just real good at swinging a sword around.
Oh no, he has armor.
Oh, does he? Oh, so it must be a thief.
Yeah, he's like I think a bounty hunter, which is like a thief sub-kit.
Oh, that's right. I knew it was a sub-kit, but that's right. It's a thief sub-kit.
Yeah, he like plants, traps and stuff. A thing which I've never, ever used.
Sure. Well, you don't need traps. You've got skull traps.
Got skull traps. Boom. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so about this time in the game, I found out that casting the spell Skull Trap 6 times a day is just basically kicking this game in the teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it kills everything. And so yeah, we do a lot of melee encounters throughout this thing. And by we, I mean my entire party. But basically anything that's a little bit remotely difficult, I just cast Skull Trap right into it. Oh, the way that I had a character die was Jaheira, and I cast Skull Trap on her on accident.
What is Skull Trap? Like, you're speaking to a barbarian here, so you got to
Skull Trap is it literally is like a little skull, and it like goes out and floats in space, and it's like a proximity mine. So whatever gets close to it does like X D6 damage. It's like a fireball that stands in place and isn't fire.
And is it area damage, or just like, is it a small area, big area?
Hell yeah, it's area damage. It's a little bit smaller than a fireball, I would think. I would say. But yeah, so you can run down a hallway, cast it, and when people follow you down that hallway, they explode. You can use it in a lot of ways, but it friendly fire is involved. Like but every area
certainly lends itself to the most gorgeous kind of cheese.
Yeah. You could cast like 5 in one area and then somehow pull someone through it. I've not done any of that yet. I haven't really had the opportunity to do that since I've had Skull Trap, but I will absolutely do that at some point.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Yoshimo's there, and do you recruit this Yoshimo?
I did. I'm recruiting everybody that I can until I have the option. Basically, in this game, like chapters 1 and 2 are the recruitment chapters where you kind of run around some big urban areas, Baldur's Gate style urban areas, and recruit people. And I'm going to have everybody from here up until that point.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told Yoshimo to get lost.
What do you say?
Well, I guess I'll just work my way behind you.
I guess I'll just walk in your murder wake.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then in the next room, we see a sad thing.
Oh no.
But you don't see a sad thing, do you?
I don't at all.
Oh my word. So in the next room, there's like a little encounter, and it's whatever. But after that encounter is over, if you have Jaheira in your party, Jaheira notices that Khalid, her husband, and like best buddy,
and supreme coward,
like a profoundly frustrating game coward. Khalid, he is dead, and he's been like all chopped up so much that he cannot be resurrected from the dead, and it makes her mad as hell. And she like yells at every person in the party specifically and tells them to shut up. It's awesome.
Oh, so there's even dialogue interaction betwixt characters.
Yeah, so she's like, if whatever you say to her, she's like, "Shut up, you're wrong." And then Imoen's like, "Oh, we all love Khalid." Oh no, Imoen's like, "I saw what he showed me." There's a lot of Imoen in this dungeon of her being like, "This wizard showed me all this stuff, all this like horrifying murder and whatnot that he did." And so yeah, apparently she saw him cutting on Khalid. And it's pretty messed up. And yeah, so Jaheira's like, "Shut up, child. Don't tell me about it." And Minsk is like, "Hey, you shouldn't tell people to shut up." And she's like, "You're a buffoon."
Ooh.
I know.
Deep cut.
And so yeah, so it's this is a weird kind of fridging where it's the inverse of normal fridging, but fridging nonetheless. nonetheless. Yeah, anyway, so she's murdered, or Khalid is murdered, and now Jahira's real mad about it. Also, we find out from Minsk that Dinah here, his like kind of companion, she was also murdered. She was murdered in between games.
Whoa.
Yeah.
How do we find that out? He just tells it?
Yeah, when you're talking to him at the very beginning. Yeah.
That's
Maybe
rough.
you should have listened before berating him.
Eh.
But anyway, so yeah, basically what the game is saying is like every character that you think you need to have here at the beginning is dead, so don't worry about it.
I gotcha. They're saying, hey, don't keep an eye out.
Yeah, because I think the canonical party for Baldur's Gate 1 is something like Dinah here, Minsk, Jahira, Khalid, Emma, and you.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah. So there's that, and there's like some more little encounters, and then there's a big room of wands.
Yep, this is kind of, this is peak 2nd edition puzzly stuff happening. You pick up a bunch of wands, like in the previous few rooms, and you get to a room that is obviously trapped, and the room even shows you that it is trapped because there are enemies in the room, and when they approach you, they get wanded from these kind of statues on the sides of the rooms. And if you want to pass safely, I guess you have to like put wands in each of the statues in order to like neutralize them, something along those lines.
Yeah, you like unlock the wand and take it out of the statue.
That's right.
Each trap is a different kind of wand, so it's like magic missile, lightning bolt, frost.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
although I'm pretty sure you can avoid it by just walking along the walls. Like I think
you can. Yeah.
And right next to that room is so there's a few hints into what's going on in the greater dungeon in this room.
Yeah.
And one of those hints is you go into this room and there are these shadow thieves attacking a very obvious vampire. You know it's a vampire because it's like the vampire model, because there's only one humanoid that looks like that. Mm-hmm. Like with the kind of marionette arms.
Mm-hmm. And like kind of like Egyptian clothing.
Sure, and like hunched over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're blue.
Yeah. It
says vampire on their face.
Yeah. Vampires attacking. So I go and I attack the vampire, and vampire turns into a bat, and then I attack the bat, and then the bat turns into gas.
This is a real Dracula vampire.
Yeah, straight
like a
up.
Classic vampire.
And then the shadow thieves attack me.
Yeah, shadow thieves don't stop. And if you've been listening to the show since the beginning, you'll remember that the shadow thieves have showed up a couple times in this series. In Baldur's Gate 1, there was like hints that the shadow thieves were involved in doing stuff in Baldur's Gate. Mm-hmm. And that was like I don't remember what quest it was for, but that was like the rumor that was covering up the real bad stuff that was happening.
To get to Saravok's like final, like those caverns and then the Baal temple under the earth, did we go through the Thieves Guild maze? Yeah, so that wasn't shadow thieves; those were just regular thieves.
Exactly, shadow thieves are a more insidious guild of thieves.
They're just murderers. Like I don't think they're in it for material wealth.
Well, we're gonna get much more familiar with the shadow thieves as time goes on. So
okay.
We'll find out.
I'll withhold judgment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. As one should. So
so you do that. There's the room with the vampire that you see shadow thieves, and then as you're kind of escaping this dungeon, you get confronted by shadow thieves one more time, and they're like, we can't let you leave because we're trying to get this fella named Irenicus, and we're gonna get you. And I couldn't talk my way out of that, but Balthazar obviously has no reason to talk his way out of anything.
It's true. Yeah, so this is the first moment where we find out our wizard enemy's actual name. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to go ahead and do some spoiling here. It's not really spoiling, it's just some dot connecting. Mm-hmm. Irenicus is the hooded figure.
Yeah.
From Siege of Dragonspear.
And you could have easily figured that out in the opening moments of Baldur's Gate 2, especially if you had just finished Siege of Dragonspear, because the voice actor for this wizard that you see like in the first few moments of Baldur's Gate 2 has the same voice as the hooded figure in Dragonspear.
But we're going to see a lot more. If you remember from Siege of Dragonspear, there's a lot of the hooded figure saying, "You need your power. Your power will make you stronger. Do murder."
You don't know what you're doing now, but you're destined to do a thing. To do a thing.
You'll do the murders, I promise.
Are you ready?
So there's a lot of that, and we're going to see a whole lot more of that in Baldur's Gate 2, like way more.
Siege of Dragonspear really primed us well.
Yeah, it's doubling the creepy voice man stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So there's a tunnel.
Yeah.
And we zip on up that tunnel.
Go
and
towards the light.
What's at the top?
A ruins. A crater. Straight up.
And out of that crater, Will Smith appears.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to
Welcome to Athkatla.
Yeah. So we're there. We're in the middle of a city in a crater, and this is a cutscene. So Imoen's doing a bunch of talking on her own, and I guess whoever you've interacted with. So I didn't even recruit Imoen, but Imoen's outside.
Yeah, they made their own way out, like you told them to. And so there's a lot of discussion about, like, why'd you make me watch all that murder? Mm-hmm. And he says, I wanted to make you more powerful.
Yeah, Irenicus is like, you don't understand. No one understands Irenicus. That's kind of his go-to.
You think that's his thing?
That's like, no one understands me.
No one gets me, okay? I'm just a wizard. I just want to be a wizard who does what he wants to do.
You've gone to like wizard talk, but there was like another voice you were just doing. Like, no one understands me. So which Lord of the Ring character is that?
I think that's all still the same one, but one is like the teen that is inside of. Maybe it'll be like a picture-in-picture.
Or it could be like an emofied Christopher, or an emofied wizard from like an emofied Saruman. No one understands me.
No one understands me. I just wanna create mechanization and then fight the Dark Lord Sauron. No one gets me.
I had a perpetual energy machine that harnessed the power of a tannery. That was so hard. My parents did not support me.
No one believes in me, even though I created a giant dungeon beneath the city and no one even knew about it. This might get cut. This joke only half works.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I wrote in the show notes, Irenicus puts on a show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so basically, Irenicus attempts. I think this gets initiated by Irenicus casting a spell on Imoen, and Imoen casts one right back. Right?
Mm-hmm. She casts a magic missile.
Casts magic missile back at him. So you see, and I guess if you've had Imoen in your party, you know that she's like dual classed during Siege. And then all these wizards start. These hooded wizards start teleporting in and start gating in. And they say, you're under arrest. You're under wizard arrest.
The worst kind.
What group are these folks from?
The Cowled Wizards?
Yeah, I think the Cowled Order, something along those lines.
I don't quite remember.
Yeah, the Cowled Wizards, and they're arresting folks. They said it's an unsanctioned use of magic. And Irenicus is frustrated at that and just starts one-shotting them. Mm-hmm. Like, if this were a YouTube video, there would be, like, a sniper rifle going up to the center of the video, and, like, headshot. It'd be one of those.
But is the implication that you're making here is that I have to do that? Like, I feel like what you're doing is you're setting me up to have to, like, do a lot of work here.
Well, it is a big episode, so...
Okay, I mean, well, here it is. Just watch it. Nope. Be quiet.
This is an unsanctioned use of magical energy. All involved will be held. This disturbance is over.
Must I be interrupted at every turn? Enough of this. This mage's power is immense. We must...
It's probably done now.
No, that's good. That was a good one. Mm-hmm. And so Irenicus puts on a show and like different spells, turning some people to stone, shattering the stone, fireballing people. some real nasty stuff. But the cow wizards keep coming, and eventually one of them says, "There's just more of us than you. You're gonna run out of mana, dude."
Your blue orb's going to deplete.
That's some genre mixing. No, they said you're just going to run out of your spells. And eventually, Irenicus says, "Okay, well, I surrender, but you got to take that little girl too because she cast a magic missile at me. So she's equally guilty in the eyes of your ridiculous law."
Yeah, that law is maybe the most annoying thing in this game, especially as a sorcerer. And so, like, the next episode is going to open with me doing the quest to stop that, to get rid of that.
Oh, is there a quest for a permit?
No, you can just bribe a guy.
Yeah, Balthazar's never going to worry about that.
Yep. So they teleport away, and your entire party is like, well, I guess we need to rescue her somehow.
No, it's interesting without a party because there is no direction whatsoever after they teleport away. Like,
it's just dead silence.
Yeah, it's just dead silence, and I can talk to a guard, and the only real hints of a quest would be the fact that I can ask the guard and ask in a very concerned manner about where Imoen could have gone, where those wizards could have taken her. But outside of the game suggesting that could be a thing I ask someone, it's really just the beginning of like an Elder Scrolls game. It's just, well, here you are.
Hey, you live here now. Good work. You might be an emperor or something. Who knows? You could be anything.
If you say your mind to it.
Yeah, when you leave this zone, I think someone talks to you to like get that next quest going. Thankfully.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so that's the first dungeon. That's a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah. So we've kind of, because we know that Baldur's Gate, this is a big game. This is a large game with a lot of content. So we've kind of mapped out what's coming next and what's going to come after this. This was Irenicus' dungeon. This is this episode. What are we doing next episode?
We are doing the promenade, Walking's Promenade. We're just wandering around. And maybe going to the slums too, because there's I think 6 areas for this city. Mm-hmm. We're gonna go to a couple of them in the next episode.
Balthazar is you're gonna know where he's been because the promenade is gonna look a lot more orderly after he's finished with it.
Is there going to be something in his wake? Destruction sown in his wake?
Oh,
so saith the wise alone. No. Is that what's going to happen?
It may.
You're going to be a prophecy fulfiller?
I don't believe in that nonsense.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well. Okay, well, that was the first episode of Season 3 of Mages and Murderdads.
There's big stuff here.
Big stuff. Once again, all the stuff. You can follow us both on Twitter. You can like us on Facebook. You can hit like and subscribe here on YouTube and hit that weird little bell thing. If you actually want to see all the videos, they come out bi-weekly. The theme song is by John Fio this time. Silverskinned did our little portraits. I forgot to say that at the top. At Silverskinned, you can follow her on Twitter, see her other art, and so in 2 weeks we'll be doing some more Baldur's Gate 2. It's going to be very exciting.
It's going to be real exciting. Thanks so much, and please comment on the videos if you've got any feedback, got any questions, any comments.
Yeah, and if you've developed your own show in the meantime.
Yeah, this is the only way we're going to accept criticism, is we will need at least like 20 hours of your own show.
Yeah. I mean, it's only fair, I think.
Yeah. Walk all 20 hours in our shoes before you start popping off.
Yep.
Otherwise, when you say our name, you put some respect on it.
Dang. Or just keep our name out of your mouth.
Either way.
As it were. Mm-hmm. You pick and choose. Okay, well, in 2 weeks, I'm Cameron.
And I'm Danny.
And this was Mages and Murderdads.
A wonder.